West Virginia State House Delegate Kayla Young held a press call with fellow lawmakers across the country to talk about the rising costs of living, including gas and energy prices. Delegate Young says the West Virginians are experiencing one of the fastest rising energy prices in America. She says that energy prices have jumped 73% per kilowatt in the past decade, with enough energy to supply most of the East Coast. Delegate Young spoke on ways to try to pause the rising electric and gas prices.
Pause the gas tax. Fill it with backfill. Pause it at the state level, at the national level. There are things that we can do to help people's costs stabilize while at the same time walk and chew gum and be putting forth policies that can help long term. So there's both short term and long term things we can do.
Delegate Young added that, quote, "We have to do things to stabilize bills," end quote.